Today's task, we're going to change out the spark plugs in a 2006 BMW 525xi, or for those of you who like to speak in code, that's the E60 chassis with the N52 engine. Okay, so we've already removed the upper engine cover and the air cleaner housing. However, we discover, and this isn't covered in the Bentley manual, this bracket here which the upper cover screws into. So we'll go ahead and just pop these. It's on rubber mounts, and we can just pop these right off, and that should free up cylinders 1 and 5, which it's in the way of. So for your own type, your mileage may vary. And this just pops, the rubber grommets just pop nice as you please right off these mounting studs. There's a cam feature that, so the first thing is to pop this handle right here, and as that does that, there's a cam which demates this connector. You see there. And now the tricky bit, and the BAV Auto video warns about this. Now these should just pull right out, and by pull right out I mean it's been in here for 100,000 miles, so it may take a little doing. And just like that, it comes out, and we got the whole thing, including this rubber boot. Now, BAV Auto warns that this boot may come free from the coil, although I don't see how because it looks like one piece. And in that case, you'll have to go fishing for it with a needle nose pliers. And as we look down in the recess, we have a straight shot down to the top of the spark plug. Now we'll go ahead and we'll just do one plug at a time so that we don't have to lose ourselves. I'll show you that spark plug shot here. Look way down in there, bring some light over, and there's the plug about 5 or 6 inches into the recess. Okay, so we've got the ignition coil off. I've repositioned the camera a little bit and set up my tools to go after the spark plug. Now what we're using today, we've got kind of a long reach, thin-walled 5/8 inch socket that we use for this type. Other types, some types have a special 12-point thin wall socket that they need. And it just fits on a standard 3/8 drive ratcheting handle. I picked this tool up at Napa. You can get them about anywhere, I'm sure. So we'll go ahead and reach in after that now. The Bentley's manual says, and this is broke free so I can go ahead and take the handle off and just run this out by hand. Bentley's manual says if you don't have a thin-walled socket, there's a coil cylinder head liner that you can take out, but looking down here, that isn't immediately apparent, so try to get the tool if you can. It's $7 or $8, which still beats a trip to the dealership to have this done. So I think we're free. Let's see if the plug comes with the socket. It does. I'll just bring that right up to the camera so we can look. We'll take a look at the threads. Threads look to be in pretty good shape. We don't seem to have any galling or anything. We'll go ahead and look at the electrode tip, and that's not really going to focus very well. But there's an ashy gray color around the electrodes, which indicates we're burning pretty well. Overall, this spark plug looks to be in good shape. There's no cracking of the insulation or crazing or anything like that, so all in all, things have gone pretty well for the last 8 years. Okay, so we've got our new spark plug. And these plugs are the OEM replacement. They're NGK plugs. So we'll go ahead. So what we're going to do, we'll lube up these first couple of threads. We will start the plug by hand into the cylinder, bottom it, and then we'll torque it. Lube up just the first couple of threads, just enough to keep it from seizing when it goes back in. You want to be careful not to get any of this lube because it's conductive. No, you don't want to get any of the lube onto the business end of this plug. So we'll do this. We'll just use a shop towel and kind of distribute it in the threads there. Make sure we didn't get any in the cylinder side on the inside, and it looks like we didn't. So we'll go ahead and very carefully insert. Do this by hand, not with the handle, so that you don't cross thread the plug, because if you cross thread the plug, that's a bad day. Okay, so we're bottomed. Now I'm going to go get the torque wrench and I'll be right back. Now you can torque this according to the Bentley's manual. You can torque it to, this torques up to 23 Newton meters, or for the rest of us that's 18 foot-pounds. So we'll get on our extension here. Always nervous. It feels a little squishy, but hopefully that's because there are gaskets on there's a gasket washer on the bottom of the spark plug that is compressing. There. And just that easily, the plug is in. So now we'll put our coil back on the spark plug. Very gently seat that. There. Once you're on, just pushes right in. And make sure this gasketed surface fits down over the recess. Then we start the connector. Make sure there are a couple of pins in this lid that pick up a slot here that draw the connector halves together. So make sure those go together. And in fact, it's recommended you actually push on this connector and make sure that this goes down. So there. And we'll toggle that over. And spark plug number 1 is in place. 2 through 5 look like they go about the same way. I mentioned earlier that I thought 6 was going to be a bit of a challenge because 6 is underneath this air scoop here. However, as it turns out, 5 is directly in line with the strut tower brace. I grabbed a shorter extension and we'll just build it up over the top of the spark plug and break it free that way. Okay, so broken free, we'll take the handle off, and this just comes out, we hope. We always hope. And there's our plug. Fantastic. I guess this is where it's more important to do this by hand because you're around corners and conceivably, I suppose, easier to cross something than it would be on these where you have a clear shot to the top of the cylinder. Okay, and there I'm bottomed. So we'll just torque this one up like the others. I put an adapter on there so I could get my half drive wrench onto the top of the socket. So we're set, 18 foot-pounds. And we're torqued. Coil a quick wipe. Drop that back in there. Just as nice as you like. And that snaps into place. Now 6. So, like so, and I guess it's okay, it seemed to be, to pop this loose from the top of the plug before you finish demating the connector, just to give yourself clearance to this bracket here. So of course we'll drop the adapter somewhere into the engine compartment and go fishing for it. I think we can get on. As much as people complain about these engines, so far I found this one to be fairly easy to work on. Free there, so we'll take the handle out. Put our smaller handle on there, that way we don't need the adapter.